Good morning, this is Rabbi Shlomo Furst here, substituting for Rabbi Levitt, who usually gives a share now. And we'll be learning some things about Purim, which is coming up within the next 3 weeks or so. Here at Yeshiva Samas Nafshi, located in Yerushalayim, Ir Kodesh. Please feel free to join us for our shirim. Now, there's a bit of a discussion with the mitzvah of Shalach Monos. Now, the halacha, as we know, for Shalach Monos, is you're supposed to send a gift of primarily food or drink, right, to someone that you know, and consisting of two things, right? So the question is, when you're sending to somebody, who do you send it to? Take a look at that. As it states. Here we are. You could read that if you want. I'll get the copy myself. Maybe this actually got this might be a little bit bigger for you. This part, I think is more bigger. This is bigger. Down. 2 lines from the bottom. Yes. Okay, that's enough for our discussion right now. So just to review, HaChaim, the Chaver in Shulchan says, obligated is a person to send to his chavero, his friend, shtei monos, 2 portions, of basar, of meat, or meaning including other types of food, because it says in the Megillah, v'sholach monos ish l're'ev. They sent monos, portions of food, each person to his friend. Shtei monos, that means 2 portions from one person going to another person. And anyone who increases to give to Re'im, who Re'im is usually known as friends, right? That's Meshubach, it's praiseworthy. So, this leads us to the question, well, what if you send it to a person you don't like so much?
Why would you do it in the first place?
You're feeling sorry that you don't get along with this person so well, and it's a good excuse, to come out of the blue and give him a present. You may not want to take it, but he might warm up, might chill. There's a chill in the relationship or something like that. Mm-hmm. So it could be a good excuse to warm things up.
Okay, well if you've got that in mind, then you would quite possibly be giving it to him with a full heart.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is what your intention is to come closer to him, and vice versa. To try and obviate the mess you're in before.
Right.
So if you're going to go to the extent of giving him a shot minus, you're obviously really mean to do something good about it, so therefore you would be giving it to him. Probably even with more kavana, if you can put it that way, than you'd give to a steady friend.
Mm-hmm. So
It's possible. You might also be giving it and thinking, well, here goes, if it works, it works, if it doesn't work, I don't care. You might be giving it that with that attitude as well.
True. The question is, okay, that always leads us to the question: how much of our mitzvah is required that we have their intention? You know, this is trikas kavanah to a certain extent. That's true, right? But like here, is it simply enough that the fellow gets it from you, without your particular kavanah? I mean, what's the point of, meaning, when we think about this mitzvah shalach monos, that what is the purpose of shalach monos? Right. So, if we look at the Mishnah Berurah, I think you'll get a partial answer to that question. Okay, let's see where it is here. I'm just trying to read it. I just want to see the direct our question, direct our attention specifically to what's going to help us in answering our question, perhaps. Not exactly. I'll tell you. One of the main points of the mitzvah of shalach monos, right, is that. Take a look at your test. You have there in your test. In the Mishnah Berurah, mini oikel. It should be types of food, right? You have to send 2 portions of types of food. Mini oikel, right? Good tag. 4, and my addition is 4 lines up. 4 lines up.
I've got your chairs.
That's Chachimai, there's some kind of a misprinting here. You want to read it over here. It says over here, mini oichli. It's Chachim, your test of mine. There's some kind of a discrepancy. You want me to get you Mr. Brewer? Hold on, we're learning about Purim, about Shalach Monos.
How are you? Yeah, great job.
Mazel tov. That's great. When? When?
Yesterday morning.
Yesterday morning. Wow, fantastic.
I wasn't here then.
Pardon?
That's why I wasn't here. Were you here?
I was here yesterday, yeah.
Yes, I got here.
I was here actually on time. I was here before the rabbi yesterday. Not today. Today is sleep time.
We're learning about Shalach Monos on Purim. The question is, it says in the Mechaber you should send it to your friend, right? You should send it, the more that you send to your friends, the better, right? So the question is, what if you send to someone you don't like, someone you're not really a friend?
Better. It's better.
Why? A good point. Why would it be considered better?
Well, because we learned that helping your enemy unload his donkey takes a priority over helping your friend load his donkey, load his donkey, or vice versa. Because by helping your enemy, you'll make him into your friend.
Yeah, very good. We'll be discussing this. This will be part of our exploration of this point. What we're now, just in our initial analysis, we have to try and understand what the basic purpose of sending Shalach Monos is all about anyway. Why were we commanded, and why do we fulfill the mitzvah of Shalach Monos, right? So that, to understand a little bit about that, let's take a look at where it says mini oichlim. You have to send 2 types of foods. Mini oichlim, right? It should be, I think, chaf in your edition, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah?
Yes, I got it.
Okay. Roy, want to continue? Go ahead.
Mene ochalim, bigadim,
V'lo begadim. Don't send clothes. So maybe you want to say, this guy needs, I know this guy needs gloves, so I'm going to send him 2 gloves, and that'll be my shalach manos. You're not to send gloves. Not to send any clothes. Right?
bigadim, usha'arei, davarim.
Right, and any other things. So you want to get him a gold watch, want to get him a nice sefer. You say, oh wow, you know, sefer Purim, you just love this. I know you love this new sefer, and you send it. You can send him a whole shas, but he might love you very much, but you're not fulfilling your mitzvah of shalach manos. Right? It can't be begodim or any other objects.
What does shalach manos mean? Set the same manos is
Meaning portions.
Portions.
Sure. So you said portions.
portion. Well, you can't send a portion of a glove.
No.
Or a portion. Portions of food one can send.
Yes.
Okay. V'hu.
Yeah.
V'hu hadin mishakeh.
Mashka.
Oh, sorry. Mashke. Mishakeh. Damei. Roshatayim. Roshataya. Bichalel. Achila.
Okay. So it says within mashka, meaning it's not just foodstuffs. You can send drinks as well, right?
What's
That's
mashka?
a drink.
Oh,
Mashka is a drink. Shara mashka, we had him by Paro. They had the Shara Afi and the Shara mashka, the butler.
Oh, right,
Shara
yeah.
mashka. He was in charge of. They used the bartender. The royal bartender. So objects you can't send, right? Even though we might like it very much, but drinks you can. To Shabbat, I mean, it's very good to send drinks. The shkia b'klal achila. Drinking is included in eating. Yeah.
What's dame?
Similar to. Well, no. In this context, it's shaper dummy. Literally, it's very good.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, it's an expression, shaper dummy. It's very good.
V'chein sagi v'heked achal v'echad mashke.
Okay, and also it's enough that you send 1 portion of food and 1 portion of drink. And you can send them a salami and a Coca-Cola.
What's sagi?
Enough.
Enough.
Sufficient. Sagi is, I think it's actually Aramaic, if I'm not mistaken, but it means sufficient. Sufficient with echad also, it's sufficient with 1 portion of food, ve'echad mashke, and 1 portion of drink. Okay?
Does that mean you have to include a drink?
No. You have to have 2 things that are edible.
Right.
Or drinkable.
At that time.
Oh, we'll see. Where do you get that from?
What?
Where did you get that from at that time?
At that time, because you're not supposed, just from general knowledge I think, because you're not supposed to, they're not supposed to sort of prepare it and sort of put it in the oven and wait half an hour for it to rise and stuff like that. As I understand it, the food and the drink should be ready to eat straight away.
Because let's see, we'll see about that. Very good. Let's see. The Indian Shirmin, go ahead.
La'inyan sheheye min ochel hamagusha below pasar chai demishalach manos aharaui miyad achila mashma hayesh
Okay, so 1 second. So it says you should send, right, the Indian Shia Min Oichel Mamuvusho. It should be a type of food that's been cooked. Lo basachai, not raw meat. Right? Lo basachai, not raw meat. Mishamo, the Shemo, it says from the expression Mishloyach Manos, Roi Miyad Ochel Mashma. It's inferred from this, and this expression Sholach Monos, a mona, meaning it's a portion, meaning it's something which is fit to be eaten right away, not something which has to be prepared.
V'yesh Amarim T'chayvan T'chayvan Shehu Shehut V'ra'oi Lahas Shel Miyad Shari.
Right, so he says here that let's say you sent some meat that was already shechted, right? I mean, you didn't send them a lamb. Let's say you send them a lamb with a bottle of wine around his neck, right? So, not a Saint Bernard with a barrel of whiskey.
No, we're looking at Saint Bernard.
I Saint Bernard, I like it. That's why a lamb. It's kosher. Saint Bernard with bottle of those kegs of whiskey around his neck. That won't be sufficient because you can't eat the Saint Bernard. Well, and in Mashra from this Mishnah Berurah, you can't send them the lamb either because it's not shochet, it's not slaughtered yet. But if you sent them a piece of meat which can't, well, let's say you send them a whole lamb, it's been slaughtered, right? It's Mashra from these opinions that would be
You're a good friend in that case.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So I assume that means then if something is supposed to be eaten hot,
Yeah.
it should be sent hot.
Possibly that might be an advantage to do that, but I don't know if it's since it could be eaten. If let's say it's only something which could be eaten. Let's say frozen, something frozen. A container of chicken soup with matzo balls, right? Are you also with some container of matzo balls of chicken soup? Are those medium?
I don't think so because matzo balls are part of the chicken soup.
Yeah, I would
it's
say it's
included
one
as part of the. Yeah.
Could be one thing.
I mean,
we certainly look at it as one thing.
Right.
Question about the broth, we should know not so much about broth with the soups. I have to make 2 broths, in which case in terms of broths it's looked at as 2 things. Could be.
Mizanot and Shechol.
And Shechol, yeah, could be. It's not so
Actually, it
easy.
could be 3. Actually, Mizanot, Adama, and
So
Shechol.
there's carrots and such.
Right.
It's complicated. Soups are very complicated.
Don't you generally go by the greater amount what soup's supposed to be?
In general, but it's soup. The brachas on soup are very difficult. They're not at all simple halachas. It's the conglomeration of different foods together, whether they've been cooked together, what's the primary thing, what's not the primary thing, whether they've been added afterwards, not cooked together. Like let's say you just take some noodles and just dump them into the soup, and have them cooked up. So very. But if you send 1 bowl of soup, we look at that, I would say, as 1 bowl of soup.
Right.
So let's say you send them a bowl of soup and a little package of soup nuts. Shkeli marak.
One thing.
One thing, maybe not. But those are cases where it's ordered. So if you send them a thing of frozen chicken soup, so it's not so clear, to tell you the truth, that you would be fulfilling your mitzvah exactly as it's planned. Why? Because this is why I wanted to discuss this, because the main point of the mitzvah Shalach Monas is that the person you're receiving should have what to eat for a Sudas Purim. We instituted these halachas of Matanas Lavyoni, giving the gifts to the poor, right? 2 separate gifts to 2 separate people, and 1 gift to 1 person consisting of two dishes. They were basically founded on the premise that we wanted to make sure that everyone, even the poorest person in the Jewish nation, would have what to celebrate his feast of Purim with what he should be able to eat, drink, or at least have money to buy foods and necessities for his feast.
Is that would be the reason then that you're supposed to deliver it before Chutzos?
Exactly. After the time of the meal, the feast, you've lost your mitzvah.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't given him anything. Also, similarly, when it says Mataras Levioni, let's say you give him a check that he can't deposit. Let's say it's a Purim here in Yerushalayim on Erev Shabbos. You give it to him, or any late pay. The banks close at 5. Let's say the bank close at 5. You give him, and let's say Shkia is not till 7, right? You give him a check at 5 to 5. He can't get to the bank. Mm-hmm. So
if he does make it to the bank, he won't make it to the shops.
right. Also, should have so the shops close early. Also, right. So it's important to do these mitzvahs early in the day, right? So the basic mitzvah is to make sure that the people in the Jewish nation all have enough food and drink to enjoy their feast of Purim properly. Right? So that brings us back to our original question. Well, what if you send it to a person that's not exactly your best friend? Do you have to send it to your best friend? Can you send it to an associate? Can you send it to an enemy of yours? Can you send it to someone who's not your friend? Let's say he's a relative, right? A wife?
Could still be not a friend.
What is shchut?
Slaughtered, shek from shchita.
So this seems to be saying that you can send raw meat.
Yeah, this opinion is different than the first opinion. The first opinion said that you must have that it's fit to eat immediately, and the other opinion says no, even though it needs preparation, but if it's still properly edible food, but it needs preparation, you'll still be yotzi with that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So I would have thought no, maybe not. But anyway, from the discussion, I would have thought the question would be, then if you deliver it after hours, is it a mitzvah?
yeah, if the delivery is after the time after Purim, there's no mitzvah.
There's no mitzvah.
You might as
It's
well-
still a nice thing to do.
You can blow a shofar
Still
for
a
him
nice
after
thing
Purim.
to
You can
do.
blow a shofar for him after Purim also. If you want to do that, something.
So any act that you do that would have been a mitzvah at a certain time, after a certain time, if you do it, it's not a mitzvah.
Mm-hmm. Not the mitzvah of Purim. There might be, if there's a mitzvah in taking gifts. Maybe even refuse the gift. On Purim, there was such a concept as soni matanis nichia. A person should really refuse gifts. Shouldn't take gifts. But maybe
You shouldn't accept Mishlach Manos?
no. So on Purim, apparently you should.
Oh, you shouldn't
But in
accept
general,
it. It's not on Purim. I
in
see.
general, it's a certain.
But your mitzvah is giving it.
Yes.
Whether what they do with it, their problem,
Right.
or don't do with it.
That's one of the answers. They asked the question, why don't we make a bracha on Shalach Manos? Why don't we say, Shekir Shanis Shalach Manos? And we make a bracha on Hanukkah, which is the Rabbanim. So I want to make a bracha on Shalach Manos. Or in general, they asked the question, why don't I make a bracha on tzedakah? Before I give a $1 to somebody collecting, why don't I make a bracha? I'm doing a mitzvah d'oraisa, right?
Right.
So the answer is given is he may not like, he may not take it. He doesn't want your $1. He doesn't like your matzah ball soup for Shalach Manos, right? Not interested in that. So since he may not take it, we're not sure. It's totally what we call totally al das acherim. It's dependent on other people. The mitzvah, the fulfillment of your mitzvah is totally dependent on other people. So that type of a mitzvah that's dependent on other people, we won't make a bracha.
So that means if they don't accept it,
Are you
then you're not yotze the bracha on that.
the bracha?
No, sorry, not the bracha. You're not yotze the mitzvah if they don't take it according to that view.
Apparently, right?
But
Apparently.
wait a second. We're not responsible for the completion of the deed. We're only responsible for our part in it.
Oh, so let's think about this. What is it when it says Shalach Manos? So let's say I send it through a carrier, I send it through a agent, right? When is the fulfillment of the mitzvah? When I give it over to somebody, I've sent it, right? Or when it's being received? When is the fulfillment of the mitzvah?
I'll send it.
Possibly
I
not.
would say when the agent gives it or attempts to give it to the recipient, because he's your agent, he's acting for you. So you would be fulfilling your mitzvah if, when you actually give it. The question would be then, of course, if you're on your way to deliver it and you're stopped from doing it, have you done your mitzvah? Because so if the agent, so while the Shalach Manos is on its way, it's not, the mitzvah hasn't been done. It's in the process of being done, but it can be aborted.
Yes.
So it's when the mitzvah, when it's received by the recipient, then I would say then you've fulfilled your mitzvah. But if he doesn't want to receive it, then have you fulfilled it? If he's taken hold of it and then gives it back to you, I would say that then you fulfilled your mitzvah. But if he doesn't take hold of it and slams the door in your face, then I'd say please don't swear. I don't know. I don't know. The attempt. Don't we say that the intention is as important as the finished?
Yeah, I mean you. So, but let's transfer to another mitzvah. Let's say tzedakah. You want to send, so you want to give a tzedakah to a certain person, so you give it to an agent, a shliach, for you to give to somebody. But let's say the shliach, for some reason, never, let's say, absconds with the money. You fulfill your mitzvah of tzedakah.
I think so.
You gave it in good faith, so that should count for something.
Okay, so let's take it to another step. Let's say you want to marry a woman. You know you have to give a ring, a shever pruta, to a woman. So I'll make you my agent to give to this nice, fair maiden. Right there, I'm interested in marrying.
I'm not married, I'm not, you know.
You might.
Alright, so
or you might like the ring and then abscond with the ring.
Right.
So let's say the agent I gave the ring to Kaddish me and Yeshua, he absconds with the ring. Is the woman considered married?
I say not.
So in the case of tzedakah, have you given your tzedakah? If he absconds with the tzedakah money?
I say not, but on the other hand, are they comparable?
That's always the question. Are the comparisons comparable? That's always the question.
Well, I think inherent in my position that you get credit, that is assuming that you're doing everything you can to make sure it works. So in the case of the woman, when you found out that she didn't get the ring, you would get another ring and give it to her.
Well, see, she got married to somebody else in the meantime. Tough luck, Charlie.
That's what I was getting to. In the case of the tzedakah, same thing. If you found out it didn't get delivered, then you would want to go and give it again. If you're doing everything you can, then I would say you get credit for the mitzvah. Now,
but has the mitzvah been done? You must be getting credit for it, but has it been done?
Yeah, you can come back and say, but she's still not married to you, right? And I would say yes, but in Shemayim, you get credit for the fact that you did everything you could.
There are two things. There's the credit for the mitzvah, as if you've done it, even though it hasn't really, in fact, in actuality, has been done. Nevertheless, in actuality, you can't be you haven't affected anything which the mitzvah is supposed. If the mitzvah is supposed to do something, right? If the mitzvah is supposed to do something, you haven't affected it. Meaning, you just take our case of Shalach Manos or Matanos Levitt. Let's say this person, you and he are the only person on a desert island, right? And it happens to be poor, and you've got food and money, and he's got nothing, right? Right. So you want to do your mitzvah, and he's willing and waiting and hungry to get food and money from you, that he can at least have the food and make a feast for himself, right? So as you're walking with your piping hot matzah ball, right? An eagle comes from the sky, swoops down, and runs off, flies off with your matzah ball, right? So he's still waiting for your matzah ball.
Is it a Jewish eagle?
American eagle.
American eagle, bald eagle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's still waiting for something to make his feast out of, right? He hasn't gotten that, right? You may have the very best of intentions to do it, right? But for some reason you've been stopped, prevented from fulfilling your part of the mitzvah of making it sure that he gets to it. The question is, how sure do you have to make sure that he's going to get it?
So is Shlomo two parts, delivery and acceptance, and use, and the person who receives it has to use it.
Right. So
Well, no, I don't think that's part of it.
whether he uses it or not, that's another story, right? He may turn around and decide not to use it.
Maybe he'll give it to somebody else.
Why is it another story? Because if he doesn't use it, it's like he didn't receive it.
I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure if it's exactly like that. I
Okay.
mean, to a certain extent, you can understand it that way. Yeah, that he's not using it. So, but that's really, once he's gotten it, like, you've done yours, and then, like, it's up to him.
Well, I said before, it's up, that's what I said before.
Sure.
It was, I think something that you've done your bit. That's it. But maybe that's not it.
Okay, so we'll have time to think about some of these things, but now let's just read you what some of the discussion is on an original topic. It says here the Bach, that's the parish on the tour, in Tafresh Tzadihei, which is where we are in the Mishnah Berurah, Tafresh Tzadihei. Kasav, the Tam Tikanas Shalach Manasu Mishum Simkas Alim Im Ova V'Reya. The reason for giving the Shalach Manas is that you should a person celebrate joyously with his beloved ones and his friends. Because of the Bach, the Sof Devar the Bach writes there at the end, the Al-Kain, therefore, right? Ha-mitzvahi l'shloach shtei monos l'reyav hatoyim. It's a mitzvah to send the 2 dishes of food, portions of food, to a good friend. It's a mitzvah to send it to a good friend. The parish of Bach, the Mishum Haki, Tiknum L'shloach monos, Shitein shtei monos l'ish echad, u'matas l'avyonim, Shitiknum l'sein matana es l'shnei avyonim. Mishum de avyonim, Shkifi, okay, it goes into the why is it. He's dealing with a side question, which we're going to try and circumvent right now. Why is it that you have to send 2 portions of food to one person, and you have to have 1 gift to 2 people of tzedakah money, right? So why is it 2 to 2 and or 2 to 1? Why is that? We're going to go into that. We're going to avoid that question for right now. But now it says, you do a ma'aseh, okay, that therefore, according to this explanation of the Bach, that it's really the mitzvah to send it to the most friendliest person you know, right? Decide who is the most friendliest person you know, and send it to him. Or if you can't get the friend, you get a friend, a good friend, as opposed to someone who's not so much your friend. Okay, in the Sefer Pele Yoitz, it's explained as follows. Tov Yosef l'shaloach manos l'man di'isle kepeda aleh. It's much better to send the shalach manos to a person who has some type of a difficulty with you, right? Why? Kedei la'arbas avu v'shalom v'reyusumo, because this is going to be a good opportunity for you to increase the love and the peace and the friendship between the 2 of you. It's a good excuse to try and break the ice, right? Which you may not be able to be doing under normal circumstances, right? The person gets you've had ins and outs with this person, and now you're on the outside of this person, and he's on the outside of you, and he sees that you're sending him shalach manos, so he says, he really is a good guy, and I'll send him something, and you'll get from him, and you'll maybe call him up and say, wow, it was nice you sent me something, I like it very much, maybe we'll get together and come over and have a drink and, you know, bygones be bygones and friends forever.
If you leave it on his doorstep, is that the same thing?
Oh, so that's another question. Does he have to receive it in his hands? Like you have a lot of times people go away for Purim, right? Let's say the people are away for Purim, so what are you going to do? You walk. Sometimes it even snows on Purim. Let's say you trudge in America, certainly so. Let's say you trudge in the snow for half a mile to your friend's house, and lo and behold, right, there's a note on the door, gone for Purim.
Oi.
Well, then you can't get it anyway because you won't get it for a Suda.
Right, that's true. So you're piping hot matzo ball soup with a carrot on the side. You want to make two monos, right? So what are you going to do with this hot boiling soup? You want to enjoy a nice glass of wine while he's enjoying your matzo ball soup. So there's a question in halakha, such a thing as this. A chatzar shel adam is koinefim, if it's chatzar miskemeres, which means like this. If you put something in a person's domain, in his reshus, in his domain will acquire it for him, even though he's not there. Okay? So if you put it in, let's say if there's a way to put it into his mailbox, and you have these, remember these American mailboxes?
Oh yeah.
You know, the boxes, they're big enough to put the Sunday New York Times in there,
Right.
plus.
Absolutely.
Right? So if you put your hot piping hot matzo ball soup and carrot in there, so that's his domain. So that could be, in fact, making an acquisition for him, right? So it's as if he's gotten it, even though he physically didn't bodily get it, but it's something.
He's not going to be able to have it in the Suda because you saw in the note that he's gone for Purim.
Yeah. So
maybe he's gone out for a couple of hours, been back later.
maybe sometimes yes, sometimes no. Maybe he leaves you no note, but he's not there now, right?
Yeah.
Maybe he'll come back. He'll be when he comes back. He'll be so intoxicated he can't even be conscious enough to know what's going on.
Lucky guy.
If you give it to an intoxicated person, are you fulfilling your mitzvah?
I'd say yes.
Maybe if he eats it, he'll get sick and not be so happy.
You're not responsible for what happens after he gets it.
So the question is, what if you give sugar products to a diabetic?
Oh, then that's irresponsible.
If you know, then that.
No, he doesn't. He can pass it on to somebody else. He doesn't have to eat the candy bar.
Oh, that's true.
But then he gave it.
So, but did I give something to him? Is it something like he can't eat?
So
Another question is asked. Let's say I know this person is makbid on a certain hecture. I give him a different hecture that I know he won't eat.
So why give it to him?
Because that's all I had available.
So
They made a mistake. I said, go out and get this lecture. And they came back with something else. So what am I supposed to do? All this wine I'm supposed to keep around for the next 6 years? I bought 25 bottles of this stuff.
25
So you have a problem in that case.
So I think they mentioned that in fact you will be yotz, because in fact he could in fact, if it's a proper hexer, it is.
It's
Yeah.
kosher, just not for him.
Right. Well, they have a question. Let's say stam yeno. Let's say wine, which was not mevushal, right? Right. Something stam yeno. So also something which is forbidden to eat. Makabel mutla okel k'gon shu koila. Right. Shemo sakana. Kasav Shlomo shlo yotzei chavasar. Right. It won't be yotzi. If it's something which is not proper for tea, it won't be yotzi. Shlok divi matika. Let's say you send something which is sweet, right? Ayotzi behemi dei shlok monas. Kakakayim yilon shlok matika. Yeah. There are a lot of questions about yeah. Hashloch Michael she'ena makabel yokel okla machmas choyle. Let's say these are foods he can't eat because he has a certain illness, right? Or maybe he's on a diet. On a diet. He's not interested in, beer, right? It's not on his diet, not on his, for whatever reason. Let's say this person doesn't eat these types of hechshers. Oh, very nice quote. Let's say this guy at 1 o'clock he's having his meat now, right? And let's say Shki is at 6 o'clock. Purim's over at 6 o'clock, and so he's going to be basari for the next 6 hours till 7 o'clock at night. You send him a pizza.
Good.
What do you think they were?
I think it's just irresponsible.
Why? I bought pizzas to send to for myself. I'm just because he ate meat at 6 o'clock. I bought pizzas to send out.
Well, are you aware that it's his custom to eat meat?
Yeah, let's say I know. Let's say I know.
I think if you know that what you want to offer is not acceptable for whatever reason, basically.
I have to go and buy Diet Coke for this guy. I'm not interested in going buying Diet Coke for this guy. I hold it's poison. And he drinks it because he's on a diet. He doesn't know better than all the stuff in it.
You gotta buy the Diet Coke.
All right, let's see. Let's think about it. Charles, good morning. I'm getting close.
Your
Okay.
toe.
Okay, so it says Das Rabbi Shlomo's Leah also says that L'katila ain't royal l'shlochem. It's not
Proper.
L'katila ideal to send these. Now, so I'm coming Nisli, the Shlok Dava Asur L'makabel Lochem Asur V'Yosov or She'ena Somach Al-Kashur Lo Yotze Dekabasur. Those that, so you have Rabbi Rusher and the Chaim Kamenetsky. Chaim they say it's not good. And you have on the other hand, Rabbi Shlomo Zayim Orbach, they should Yotze Dekavaso, they are Yotze. So you have two opinions.
I thought you were going to say, the Chatchila, you're not going to say, but B'diavad you are, but you didn't go there. What was
I didn't go.
what
They
was
didn't speak.
What was
about
the
it.
statement of the Chatchila?
L'katila, that was a statement of Lilashim itself. L'katila ain't royal l'shlochem. It's not ideal to send it. It didn't say if you do, you're not Yotzi. Chaim Kamenetsky said, right? Lo Yotze Dech. He said you're not Yotzi Kabasa. Shlomo Zayim Orbach Zitzal said that you are Yotzi. Okay, yesh v'yesh. So
Complicated.